taking that into consideration when we're looking at our marriage, knowing that it's like we're always moving in one direction or the other, and it's like we're never going to arrive. It's like really being present in every moment. I heard this question posed one time that it was like, if you could have the most perfect marriage and I would give you $1 million once you got that perfect marriage, what would you change today? What all of a sudden happens is you're like, oh, well, I would probably do this differently. I would probably do that differently, because if I can get $1 million by having a great marriage, then heck, I'm going to do it. And so all of a sudden now you actually have a list of things that you could be doing today.
Oh, that's crazy.
Because
totally.
Because you are only in control of yourself.
Yeah.
I can't
I have
change
two right
you.
now that I know that I'd probably do 100%.
Well, step it up, Brown.
Yo, geez, here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to Imperfectly Married, the podcast,
where real talk meets real marriage.
We're Michael and Heather.
26 years in and still figuring it out.
No filters, no fluff.
Just real love.
Real life.
And a whole lot of grace.
Amen.
Hey, honey.
Come on.
All right, here we are.
I love it.
We are here for another podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And this one I'm kind of excited about because it's something that I actually really struggle with. I have a very strong love-hate relationship with
Absolutely.
social media,
Wow.
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you name the platform.
All
And
the things.
I have a very interesting relationship with it.
Yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a journey for you specifically, and you go on. You swing the gamut.
Oh,
You really do.
the pendulum swings really long and wide for Heather Brown.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I love social media. I love what it offers. I love inspiring people. I love encouraging people to like have breakthroughs and whatnot. But then my insecurities rise really high within social media. Like I can go very inward and very silent on social media. And usually when I do, it's because I'm dealing with like some mass insecurities, or I just don't want to put myself out there. And it's like, and I think that social media has such a strong platform to be able to encourage and set people free, but can also lead to bondage also.
Well, yeah, because at its very basis,
Mhm.
its default is not a bad thing on its own.
No.
It's what we've all done with it that has made it be so negatively effective to our lives, although there are positive outcomes, because the platform in itself, social media as a platform itself, has given rise to encouraging truth to go out and minister to people. People be encouraged, they're comforted, and so all of that is great.
Right.
And so it can't be a blanket statement, and we're certainly not saying that.
No.
But a blanket statement can't be made over social media. What I think we hope to try to do, especially in an episode like this, is how is that platform affecting us personally, individuals, relationships across the board, and then also how you relate to people, right? Because in social media, you feel a lot closer to someone than you
really
likely are.
Right.
And I've even had this happened recently where someone asked me, "Oh, we were at a local restaurant that we go to a lot, and we saw somebody there, and we see them once or twice a year." And not 20 seconds into the conversation, they say, "Hey, yeah, you guys just got back from Mexico."
Oh, right.
And it is but that happens all the time with people now. That's how people are finding out about the life that you're living. And on the surface, it seems like, oh, this is great. But actually, it's kind of a faux intimacy. It's
right.
You think you're close, but I know we have a lot to get into, so I don't want to get too far. But yeah.
Well, no, but I think the reality is that it's like there is like a relationship filter that is over all relationships that is really causing a great lie. And because it's like, it's not actually true in real life.
Absolutely.
I think that there's aspects of social media that projects a somewhat of a truth, but it's the truth that you're willing to expose. It's the truth that you're willing to put out there. And so it's kind of just like a highlight reel. And I think what ends up happening is, especially within marriage and relationships and friendships, you even start assuming that someone has a better relationship that you think, or if you're struggling with something, you're like, oh, well, so and so would never deal with that. And it even happened to us recently when we had our adultery episode, and I was exposed on my emotional affair, and in bringing that to the light, we had some of our old youth y- what is it called, youth ministry students, youth
Yeah,
students,
yeah,
our old
our old
students.
students. Yeah.
Our old students, some of them like were talking to someone else about how they were like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea it's Michael and Heather. Like I thought their marriage was perfect. And the beauty of what we're doing here is we are bringing to light the realities of our own experiences so that it can help people like look at their own relationship and be like, wow, like if they've overcome that, I can overcome this situation that we're dealing with. And this is why we are doing what we're doing.
Absolutely.
We're not coming on a podcast just to expose our dirty laundry and be like, hey, isn't that fun? Because this is probably one of the most scariest things I've ever done.
Well, I mean, absolutely. But even in that, media right now, podcasts, any platform, they don't do that. They always kind of usually give the highlight, like you
The
said, the
highlight reel.
highlight reel. These are all the good things. But even if we were just to come and dump this is all the ugly,
Mhm.
which is good, we're also trying to show that if it can work for us, it can work for you. And you can find some familiar connection, like, well, I didn't, we've been married for 26 years. We've been together for 30. We've gone through a lot. Not saying that we've gone through more than other people,
Sure.
but we've had our own ups and downs. But we've constantly chosen each other. As difficult as it has been to choose each other sometimes, we have fought for that. And sometimes we've lost the battle in certain parts of our life, but for the most part, we've won.
Mhm.
And now we've come to a place to where we've recognized, and always have in a sense, but we've recognized that marriages are under attack and have been for a long time. And it's the strongest and most, in our opinion, critical relationship on the face of the earth, in our opinion.
Mhm.
And from that, then ripples out into family and children and all of these things. So for us we're wanting that to be the win.
Right.
And so we come to a subject like this, like social media, where at its basis, it's great, it's fine, and it works. And it's been a positive thing for a lot of people, connecting with friends that they haven't seen in a long time, and like connecting with relatives. You now have a way to keep up with relatives. Absolutely wonderful. But what has happened is, right, the comparison machine.
Mhm.
I can't help, as much as I try, it is very hard not to compare my life to someone else's life, even though I know for certain that the only reason and the only things they're wanting to show are all of the good things. And I'm not going to fault people for that. Like, we've done the same thing. We just got back from vacation. You blast everybody with that, and it's fun because you had a great time. But what we don't post is the argument that you and I got into yesterday.
Right.
We don't post that.
Well, yeah, because that'd be awkward.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, when you're consuming social media, you fill in the gaps that are there
Mhm.
with thinking, oh, that's what it always is.
Right.
It's always like that. And then you look at your life, you look at your relationship, you look at, all of the things you don't have. And now all of a sudden, contentment
Mhm.
is nowhere near you, all because someone just showed their vacation for the last week.
Right. Or you start looking at social media and you feel like you're behind on life. You should have the house, the car, the vacations, whatnot. And instead of actually looking at your life and being like, this is where God has me in this moment at this time for this purpose, we get so consumed with striving and pushing for something that isn't part of God's plan in this moment, because we're so consumed with wanting to get to that level because we feel like we're behind or we're missing something, or we should be somewhere different than where we currently are. And it's leading to that lack of contentment. And lack of contentment just kind of eats at your soul. And then it ends up permeating into your marriage and into your relationship with your kids, because now you're overworked, you're stressed, you're burdened, all the things, because you're trying to achieve something that isn't part of God's plan. Or maybe it is part of God's plan, but it's part of God's plan for next year and not just in this
Timing.
current
Yep.
moment. Yeah, it's all
Absolutely.
about timing, because I do believe that God puts desires into our heart that if we're completely like open-handed with the Lord and we're going to the Lord, we're seeking him for our purposes. I do believe that sometimes he puts those desires in our heart to get the house, get the job, get the whatever. And that is a God-given desire, but it's all in his timing.
Right.
And it's all about us being surrendered to whatever the plan and purpose is in that moment. And I think that sometimes social media can get us so focused on the filter or the perception or the idea that we've created in our heads in the backstory, because that's what we do, right? We see this picture one day, oh, they went out on a date night, then they went on a vacation, then they're playing golf together. And what we've done is we've taken those 3 pictures and we've filled in the gaps of what their everyday day to day looks like.
Absolutely.
And the reality is that they could have thrown each other's golf clubs at each other on that
Absolutely.
golf course and been completely like mad at each
Terrible
other.
to each other.
Yes, or really mean or ugly. And it's like, that's why when we hear about the people, especially like on social media that are influencers or whatnot, that all of a sudden are getting a divorce, it's a shock to our soul, because all that was ever posted was the highlight reel. And so I'm not saying that, we have to start posting all of our fights, but what we do is we have to remember that everyone is putting out their highlight reel, and that the reality is that everyone is dealing with issues. Everyone has problems. Everyone has those things that they're always battling and always dealing with. You are never alone in your struggles in a relationship.
And the responsibility to, it's not the poster's fault for how we take it.
Oh, not at all.
And so this is not in any way saying you shouldn't post that highlight reel, because quite frankly, the highlight reel for many are a way for other people to be happy for you and celebrate what's going on. Like,
I'm sorry, but everyone out there should be bragging about their spouse and about their relationship if it's great. Like, if it's great, brag about it. If you only have one really great moment, brag about that one really great moment, because maybe you bragging about that moment is going to spur your spouse to then help create another great moment.
Absolutely.
It's like those things aren't bad. It's our own it's not my fault that I'm having an issue with Susie's post. It's me.
We don't know a Susie, so
I
just
don't
wanna
know a
make sure.
Susie. That's why I said
Okay,
Susie.
yeah.
But it's me. Like, I'm the problem. I need to give that up. I need to surrender that. I need to be happy for Susie. Like, it's like, and if I want to work on my relationship, and if I want to work on my marriage, then that should spur me on to do so.
And I also, there is an aspect too. I don't want to deny the fact that sometimes when people post, they are trying to present something that is not their reality.
Yeah.
Because they want that to be their reality.
Sure.
Right? They are trying to make themselves feel better, a draw for comment, a draw for yay, a draw for that, which is an absolutely real thing. But this is the dynamic that social media has created, is an environment and an arena for people to create a non-reality that they want to be their reality.
Mm-hmm.
And then others who are consuming it are then thinking that that is their all the time reality, which makes them unhappy with their reality. And now, because of what I've consumed and the filter that I have and what I've seen, I'm now putting expectations on you because that's the relationship we should have, but this is the relationship we do have. And now I'm discontent. Now contentment is nowhere to be found because, quite frankly, comparison sucks the life out of the room.
Absolutely.
Like, contentment can't live in an environment where comparison does. And it's one of those things, we've heard it before. I think it's attributed to Theodore Roosevelt, but it's comparison is the thief of joy,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've heard it.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely so true. I think that's one of the major things in social media and its effect on marriages is us saying, why don't we have a life like that? Now, you could ask that same question and turn it into something healthy and say, I'd like to do that. How can we become that couple? How
Mm-hmm.
can we become and get that life in a way that's healthy? So there is a weird line that you cross from a unrealistic and unreasonable expectation
Mm-hmm.
on your spouse or on your relationship because of what you saw on social media, or it's now spurring you on to become who you should be in your relationship. So in that, it's a good thing. But the vast majority that I've experienced and I've observed is comparison is winning the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it is creating wedges in relationships. And it's even unknown. I don't know that many people are like, you know what? I am so discontent. I'm going to store that. And I'm just going to sit in that. No, it's something that leaks into you. And all of a sudden now that's your reality. You don't even know that you have a different expectation because you saw Susie had a great time and now I'm having a relationship with you. You don't even know it. All of a sudden now in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, see, it's not like I knew it. I knew there was always something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also say that it's like one of the cues is that it's like if you're sitting there scrolling, it's like at the end of the scroll and when you put your phone down, do a self heart check-in and just like how am I feeling in this moment? Am I
That's
actually did that scroll session like provoke an ick in me? Or because I've actually scrolled before and felt really inspired by the things that I was watching. Like my algorithm was
Absolutely.
just nailing it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like feeling like totally inspired and like yes, I can go kill the day. But you know, there's also been those times
It
where it's
takes a
like
turn.
I've been scrolling and it's like, oh wow, I should be doing more. I should be, right?
Oh, the shoulds.
It's like
Shouldn't all over everywhere.
if should is a huge part of your vocabulary after scrolling, then that's kind of maybe a check, you know? And the reality is that it's like marriage isn't about just like arriving at a destination. It's really about that journey. It's about the process and the in between. So if we're only looking for like an Instagram moment to feel like we've arrived in our relationship
Oh my
goals,
That's not even real.
yeah, you're never going to feel satisfied because you might actually get that moment and it's not ever going to fill you because you're not looking at this as a journey. And, you know, we used to pastor a church and we actually called our church Journey Church. And
Because we believe in that. We believe in that aspect.
yeah, what spurred us on to call Journey Church was because we were talking about the PCT trail and how along the trail there's things called trail angels. And what they would do is they will leave like a cooler of like cold water because on the trail, obviously you don't have a refrigerator. You don't always have fresh food.
Wait, what?
Right? You don't have like all of these things. Like you're packing in all of your supplies. So these trail angels usually leave something that you wouldn't necessarily be able to pack. And so we believed that our church was like one of those trail angels.
Yep.
It was like, we just want to be here to refresh you and give you a burst for the next leg of your journey, because everyone is moving in a
You,
direction.
you are going.
You're going
You,
somewhere.
you are going somewhere. There's no doubt about it.
Right. And so
And it's your journey. It's yours. It's not ours. It's not supposed to be like ours. It's just our calling and desire was to encourage you on yours so that you can be empowered to become and be on that journey the way God had you do it.
yeah. So taking that into consideration when we're looking at our marriage, knowing that it's like we're always moving in one direction or the other, and it's like we're never going to arrive. It's like really being present in every moment. I heard this question posed one time, that it was like, if you could have the most perfect marriage, and I would give you $1 million once you got that perfect marriage, what would you change today? And what it does is that provokes in you questions or things that you would actually change that are in your control. Because what all of a sudden happens is you're like, oh, well, I would probably do this differently. I would probably do that differently, because if I can get $1 million by having a great marriage, then heck, I'm going to do it. And so all of a sudden now you actually have a list of things that you could be doing today.
Oh, that's crazy.
Because
No, totally.
because you are only in control of yourself.
Yeah.
I can't
I have
change
two right
you.
now that I know that I'd probably do 100%.
Well, step it up, Brown.
Yo, geez, here we go.
Let's go.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No, but it's like that's what I love about any relationship, really, is it's about the journey. It's not about the destination.
You know, one of the things that we talked about, you mentioned it earlier, is our adultery, infidelity episode. That's one of the things that has actually crept up in social media, because there's this idea or this rising issue out there called micro cheating, which is where you are DMing people that you probably shouldn't DM, or you are kind of liking flirty posts or something like that, where that heightens the risk of emotional affairs, because that's where it starts. It starts with communication. Generally, I would expect, and all of a sudden now you're having these conversations that are kind of, you're not necessarily there yet, but you're on your way, and you can kind of keep it from your spouse because you have your own platform and stuff like that. And that then again focuses on the importance of having those boundaries in place to where that's not a thing. It can't be a thing, because you have all my passwords. You always have access to my phone. There is no secrets in that. You know, if you are connecting with the opposite sex, throw your spouse into the DM with you. So it's, you know, because there are ways to protect yourself. And this is another one of those things that could erode trust, because you're deleting apps, you're, you know, do secret DM stuff. There is the environment is very dangerous for those that don't have the proper armor in place to protect themselves and protect their marriage.
Yeah. What would you say to maybe the spouse that has maybe asked for the passwords and maybe asked for that transparency, and it's met with resistance?
I really want to be positive.
I know. That's why I'm asking it, because I think it's a real challenge, because I think that's actually a reality.
I'm so I want to be because I can't give a positive answer, because
Then give a real answer.
There would be concern there.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there's hesitancy. Now, it may not be what you think, but it's something. So that's the danger, right? Don't create a narrative that you don't have facts from. But I would caution that if there is resistance, then there is a problem, and maybe a way to, okay, before we're freaking out.
I want to clarify, it might not be a problem, there's something there. Because a problem means that it's like, ooh, it's bad.
Well, unless you're trying to hide an anniversary or birthday thing.
You're like, it's bad.
Well, no, I'm challenging that because I don't. I would question then why is this a thing? Why can I not? Why can I
Yeah.
not look at your phone? I'm clearly uncomfortable with you going through because I feel you're going to find something. Again, don't create the narrative. You don't know what it is. But if you still need to get over that hurdle, maybe it's a conversation of, okay, like what we've done before. Give me two people that I can talk to about it and that you trust that will go through and da 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 da. Okay, you can get. I need you to do this. I need you to give your phone to somebody that can go through it because this is not right. So that's either way is not good. But I get that you need to process through that.
Right. And again, it's all about the journey.
Yep.
So just because you're asking for passwords and for that transparency, it's like, just hang in there.
Yep.
Just go with the process. And, I mean, be okay with the transparency and be okay with the authenticity. Create that safe environment to where your spouse does feel safe to be exposed and feel like you can handle it so that it's like we can move forward and heal.
I would also encourage too that ignoring it doesn't solve it.
Yeah.
That's easy. That I think out of sight, out of mind is a real strategy for
Mhm.
people. And I get that. And I don't
And
want to.
strategy of the enemy.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I get that there's a time that you may need respite from whatever it is that you may be going through.
Mhm.
So I get that. But that is not the solution to whatever problem you're facing.
Right.
Out of sight, out of mind is not the way. But I'm also not saying that you need to confront it head on all the time because that could be volatile in its own sense.
Right.
But also thinking about too, social media has emotional implications where I think undoubtedly there's been a rise in anxiety, in depression, in self-harm. It does all go back to comparison, but I know for myself, even in the most recent news cycle, it's created a lot of angst in me,
Mhm.
and which it has for many across the nation. Now, should you stay informed? Absolutely. But we live in an age that you can get so deep and so far and expose yourself to opinions, to talking heads, to very ugly things that then in you creates unnecessary
Mhm.
anxiety,
Right.
really turning you up. I think there is a wisdom to the Bible talks about guarding your heart. And a lot of that has to do with what you're consuming because what you're consuming with intention, what you're consuming then drives down deep into your soul and then it becomes a little bit of part of yourself unless you are intentional about guarding. That doesn't mean ignoring. That's not ignorance. We're not talking about ignorance. What we're talking is knowing yourself enough, having the discipline to step away and say, I can't do anymore. I don't want anymore. I've consumed enough to be informed. It's very important to be informed. But going too far can truly affect your health.
Mhm.
And with social media, and that's the platform. We're saying social media, but social media has many different arms. And even though social media
We're a social media podcast.
it's considering
Right.
so we're really talking about a lot of the media platform really is what's happening. And when you use it with wisdom, and wisdom will look different for each person,
Mhm.
but when you use it with wisdom in how you operate and how your mind works and how you can receive and handle and bear and all of that, when you do it in that way, it can be a useful, helpful, and encouraging tool. but there is a lot of risk and a lot of potential for damage, for pain,
Mm-hmm.
unnecessary shame, unnecessary, again, keep going back to comparison, literally kills joy. There's a it's a risky arena to be in, but it can also be used for very good.
Yeah. And I mean, I look at the social media platforms as a really useful tool to some degree,
Mm.
but I would say that it has more negative aspects and components to where it's like that's where renewing your mind and keeping every thought captive really comes into play,
Yeah.
because we really have to be watching, like, how are we feeling when we're scrolling? How are we feeling when we get off of it? Even the news. Like, I don't watch the news because the news is, 95% bad.
98.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And 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 what that does to me is it makes me feel as though there is no hope. It steals every ounce of hope that I have in humanity, because all we do is murder, slander, and like rob people. And it's like all I see is the enemy's talons all over our community and our world and our country. And so what it does to me is it makes me feel small and like hopeless.
Mm.
And what the word says is that we should stand tall and we should be strong and we should be, fierce and mighty, and we should have hope. We should have joy. And so when I look at those things and I compare them, it's like I tend to see more of the enemy's strategy in the world and in relationships and in marriage with the social and the media component, because it's allowing that comparison, it's stealing the joy, it's, killing like the satisfaction that we get from our relationships, and it's creating isolation, and it makes us feel so alone because we weren't invited to the party, or we weren't invited to that, or we can't afford this or that. And so all of a sudden you're feeling so isolated. And now what happens in isolation is the enemy can just kind of stir the pot. And what I would say to all these things and all these components is, if you're feeling in that place of like that doom and despair, delete the apps for a while. Go find your
That's
joy,
good.
go find your peace, go get out in nature, go find the things that fill you, put on some music, like find out what actually like fills you, and go do those things for a while, so that when you do bring it back into your life, you're in a place of overflow. Like, we've gone through those social media fasts before, of where it's like okay, we're getting rid of it all, or we're putting the timers on our phone, or we're limiting things. And that's really, it's been valuable for us. But also, like, set an example for your kids. If your kids are always watching you just constantly on your phone and scrolling, it's like we want to make sure that we're setting a good example for our relationships. And then we've even talked about like phones in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, phones in the bedroom don't lead to intimacy, because it's like you're both living your own separate worlds, and it's like the bedroom
It's true.
should be a place for intimacy and rest.
Yep.
And it's like, how many times are we scrolling until like midnight, and now we're not able to actually rest our bodies, we're not able to heal. So it's like you can just see that it's like yes, there are some good aspects to social media, small aspects.
It's to me, it's all how you use it, right?
Sure. But I would also say that it's like you have to be very intentional to keep a good mind in
Absolutely.
it.
Because you
And
can't avoid it. Here's the thing: everything that we're saying, that the environment is risky, it's dangerous. There's a lot of stuff out there that could harm you.
Mhm.
you can't hide from that. That is the reality. It's the
Mhm.
world we live in. So escaping all of it is not the strategy, because that is unreasonable, and you can't do that. You can take steps, you can have discipline, you can take these different strategies of like rest. The Bible talks a lot about rest, but it touches every aspect. Taking those rests, like you said, from social media, help your mind clear out, cleanse yourself. But the reality is, we are not going to escape what's happening. The enemy is out there doing his work. That is the world we live in. Social media isn't going away. It'll never go away.
No.
That is the new reality. It's only growing. It's only
Mhm.
doing something more. And it can be used to your benefit, like something like this. We are trying to use it to help
Mhm.
people. So we're not against it, because everybody's experience and everybody's discipline with social media is different. Our experience is ours. Quite frankly, yours is yours and mine is mine, right? What may bother you may not bother me.
Right.
And that is the case with everybody. But the caution across the board absolutely needs to be that you can't go in blindly thinking that you're not going to be affected, because that is an absolute lie. I can
Right.
say that with certainty. You will be affected in some way. And if it's great, good. But if you go in thinking that you're not going to be cut down a little bit or have it affect you in a negative way to give you a filter that is just not yours to wear, or a worldview that is just really not from who you're just listening to somebody else that's pissed off, and now all of a sudden that's your worldview. Thinking that you're going to avoid that is not being realistic. What you need to do, what we need to do, Bible talks about, is that the things that we deal with, they're actually not the physical things, it's the spiritual things.
Mhm.
That's the reality. Whether you believe in spiritual things or not, I just encourage you that it's that the evil and negative things are happening are not always tactile touch. It's a lot that has to do with your soul, with your spirit, and protecting that. From our opinion,
Mhm.
it's being connected with Jesus, it's following him and being prayed up, and put your spiritual armor on so that you can be exposed to the elements, but then make progress. You can be a light in the darkness. You can be out there doing what you were designed to do on the journey that you're on, and be out there. Like for us, for instance, we did our adultery, infidelity episode,
Mhm.
and we did some clips on TikTok, and there have been a lot of hate out there that are just specifically to you, not to me. I mean, that has something to say too, my goodness, but just blasting you. You're being vulnerable. You're giving a 30-second, you're giving a 30-second conversation, and all of a sudden now you're just absolutely terrible comments. Now, we knew that was going to be reality if we put ourselves out there.
Mhm.
And we were okay with that. Well, we were willing because we think this is important enough to expose ourselves to. Now, we didn't know what it was going to be like. It's a little harder than we thought. But one of the things that I think for me that came from that is we love the idea of journey, the concept of journey, that you're always going somewhere. The beauty of life is in the journey, not in the destination. Heaven, Bible makes it clear that heaven is the gift at the end. The journey is the beautiful thing. To see God work in your life, to see God take something that could have been terrible to make it a beautiful thing. You think of every other concept, there is always work, pain, brokenness before there is wonder and beauty. For us, that's the filter and worldview that we have, that it's okay. I'm not going to judge you by the worst that you've ever been.
Mhm.
I'm going to cheer you on and be your biggest supporter, because from that pain will come something wonderful. We've experienced that in our own life. We've seen it, and the Bible is covered in it. That's the whole thing. The journey to who God created you to be. What I find though is people don't. Some people don't have the lens of a journey being a concept that is real. It's
Right.
just this moment. Oh, you struggled for whatever for a period of time. I acted out mine, actually, of anyone. I'm the one that acted out something.
Yeah, just to clarify what you're talking about is that it's like when people were saying that because I had an emotional affair that I had actually had a full affair. So a lot of the comments on TikTok were once a cheater, always a cheater, like saying that it's like I had actually cheated. And what you're saying is that it's like for you, you had actually
I chose to physically before we were married
right,
still, but we were committed to each other
right,
still. I physically did something you didn't.
right,
You pulled yourself out of it. I didn't, right?
right.
Mine was hidden until it was exposed. Yet you're the one getting all the hatred. My point in saying all of that is
Is that praise the Lord that we're not judged by a 30-second clip of our entire life.
and there's social media right there. I mean, that
It's
is the reality of social media.
because
Oh,
because
that's who she is.
yes, because now it's like I'm defined or being defined as a cheater, as a horrible person. And I mean, some of the comments were very, very awful.
Yeah, terrible.
And and not even knowing the situation or not even knowing the person or the people that are involved, no one's celebrating the fact that we're still together. They're cautioning you,
Oh yeah,
saying
leave
saying
now.
saying
Leave
you
now.
better
Yeah,
bail
yeah,
because she's gonna do it again. And that was like what 15 years ago
yeah.
that it's like we
Not
had the
farther. Yeah.
yeah. And so but it's like I'm just so grateful and so thankful for first off you like having the grace for me in our marriage to not be like, oh, I'm out because
I can't lose
you've
you. Heck
struggled.
no.
Thanks, honey. But it's like, but like I'm grateful for that. I'm
Mm.
grateful that it's like this one moment of failure is not defined, like it hasn't defined me for my entire life. Like I'm no longer that person that struggled and
It's true.
that was
No, you're
doing
not.
that. And so it's been hard for me to have to walk through having other people say the things that back then I thought
Thought about
about
yourself.
myself.
Absolutely.
And people are taking a 30-second clip and now saying that this is who I am. And I'm just grateful that we live in a grace-filled relationship with God, with each other, that it's like we're not defined by our worst moments.
Yep.
And the whole reason that we were even exposing it and putting ourselves out there in the first place was to give other people hope that it's like, if you find yourself in the same situation, it's okay to expose it because it's a safe place and it's better to expose it now than be
Yes.
caught up in it later.
Don't give up.
And don't give up. And be okay with the messy, be okay with the imperfect.
Oh, that's it.
And it's like, and just the imperfect part of relationships is part of the journey. Like we don't want to just shiny ourselves up and only show the best part of ourselves because that's not being truly authentic and not the entirety of who we are.
Mhm.
We're here to say this is the entirety of who we are and we're not going to be everyone's cup of tea and that's okay. But what I would say is that it's like be okay with being imperfect but still remain fully committed.
That's absolutely great. Because one of the things in that whole expression of you coming out and letting people the courage and the strength to tell me and bring it up and not just let it, because I would have never known ever. It could have just
I could have squashed it
oh
and just
feels
moved
but
on.
I would have not even have known any different.
Right.
And that needs to be, of course, that's not celebrated. That's not celebrated. That look how strong she was. Look at, she brought it to the table. It wasn't like it got exposed. No, you saw it. It was revealed to you, and you said, that you got to sit down. This is what we got to do. I mean, that is absolutely wonderful. And listen, it, it, it's okay. It's okay to be persecuted for trying to do good things. That's fine. That's what happens when you step out in the light. The dark's going to try to hit you. No big deal. So we're not whining. What we're saying is that it exposed to us a reality that, especially to me, that people often don't have the concept of the journey, that you are going somewhere and can become someone,
Mm-hmm.
not just where you are. That's not what you're defined by. Now it is part of your story,
Yes.
which makes it beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes it beautiful, but it doesn't define you. Where you choose to go from that point, that's what will really begin to define you.
Yes.
And that journey can make it something wonderful and beautiful as it is here. As we can say, it is wonderful and beautiful, and we get to use it to encourage and to instill hope into people that may be in a similar situation. One of the things that you were saying, um, not that we missed, but something that social media is doing is getting people false courage in their typing,
Mm-hmm.
that they would never say to you, to your face.
Right.
Because one, maybe they'd be scared. Two, they would never want to say that to somebody. But from through a screen, I can really kind of be that person. And there's something that is happening that in that false idea of relationship, we begin to become more comfortable with interacting and engaging with each other on a screen as opposed to in person,
Mm-hmm.
and engaging in the realities of relationship and the using the muscles of empathy, compassion, in reading your facial expression, reading your body language to understand what you're really communicating. That is completely and totally lost for the most part in social media.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's making it difficult for people to have in-person relationships because our muscles for in-person interactions begin to atrophy when we're building muscles of false confidence online. See, like, so you're using these muscles to, like, yeah, I'm going to give my opinion and do all this, and it's just, and then that's all you do, and you're strengthening that part of your uh psyche and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now the muscles that you would use to have real tactile relationships together and real all this other kind, now those begin to weaken,
Mm-hmm.
atrophy, and die. And then the enemy wins because you're now isolated and you're only comfortable with a screen because everything else gives you anxiety. You can't work it through because you don't know how to have a face-to-face, eye-to-eye, hand-to-hand conversation. And this is where I'm coming your way a little bit. As good as social media can be and the media platforms can be, if that's where you're spending most of your time, something else is dying.
Yeah.
And it's critical that you awaken yourself to that reality and start making steps toward real face-to-face interactions, especially with your wife. We are guilty of it, sitting in
Or
bed.
husband.
Or husband, your relationship, any relationship,
Yeah.
any relationship. We are guilty of it, sitting in bed, being on our phones, and doing that, right? We're absolutely guilty of that. What it can begin to do is now that's your comfort, right?
Mhm.
All you have to do is get in an elevator these days, like 6 other people. I would say at least 4 of them are going to pull out their phones immediately so they don't have to have person-to-person contact.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've done it myself. I actually forced myself not to, just so I don't do. I want to push back against that because it's that easy comfort of like, oh, I can just hide in my little, my little bubble
Yeah.
of media,
Well, you should be taking the stairs anyways.
because we are healthy, fit people. I mean, we're healthy, fit people.
No, totally.
Anyway,
All right.
social media. It's a good thing.
I don't that's my tension between social media is that it's like I love it because I think that it has some great aspects. You know, I even think of, you know, Charlie Kirk, like he was huge.
His platform was
His
that.
platform was social media.
And
And
it
it's like,
changed the
and
world.
how many people did he touch and has he impacted? And hopefully he will still continue to
Absolutely will.
impact, you know, because his voice just got really loud this week. And, you know, I'm hoping that gets used for good. And,
It will.
but then you also have the other aspect, and that's where we're just encouraging, watch your comparison, watch what you're consuming, and watch how it's making you feel, because we don't want social media and the fake parts of it to put a wedge between you and your spouse, because all of a sudden you're caught up on a non-reality.
Yep. And that's what you're basing all of your feelings on, are a non-reality.
Right. So what's your encouragement?
Social media is powerful, but marriage is too. And my encouragement is how we end most of them. Keep showing up, keep choosing each other, not through the screen, but keep choosing each other. And always, 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 always never give up.
Yep. There we go. All right.
Love you.
Until next time.
Till next time.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Thanks for spending time with us today on Imperfectly Married.
We hope something in today's episode encouraged you or gave you a fresh perspective.
If it did, share it with a friend, leave a review, or connect with us on our social platforms.
Remember, no marriage is perfect.
But yours is worth fighting for.
See you next time.